Well, I think probably Baby Sonic because it had some sort of nurturing. You know what I mean? Baby Grinch had nothing.
No.
Baby Grinch had nothing. I seem to play the characters. I had wonderful parents, but somehow I'm magnetized to characters that are loveless in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Robotnik is the prime example of like one of these billionaires that had no love whatsoever and is creating the entire universe with his brand name on it. And he sees little Sonic, and it's the manifestation of absolute divine play and electric joy, and freedom, childlike innocence and stuff. So I like to say that Robotnik has a Sonic-shaped hole in his heart. It's something I think of at the last second. I say, well, what if the guy turns into a robot in a minute? He wants to be a machine so badly. What if he, and turns into this mechanism that can just spew out this insane dialogue.
Yeah.
The wonderful thing about Robotnik is he is analogous to a lot of the insane ego that's running us, in all different kinds of realms of life. The greed, the avarice, the self-centeredness, the self-dealing, the lack of a conscience, that we see in a lot of different realms. Robotnik signifies that. He is a madman with a triple-digit IQ, and, like a lot of those good folks, those clever genius types in Silicon Valley, that's not a microchip on his shoulder. That's a quantum database of bitterness. And he hates society because he wasn't nurtured, he wasn't loved. And this is what happens to a genius like that when they have no nurturing, no love, no guidance. And that's what he's become, the epitome of that. He hates the world because the world abandoned him. And I see him as somebody who wants to be the warden of a mechanized prison that captures the consciousness of the world. And Sonic is a power that he needs, because if you control the power grid, you control the world.
Why does Dr. Robotnik want to steal Sonic's power?
Because Sonic is special. Sonic has a divine spark. Sonic looks at the world like play, and Robotnik can't do that. He's so concerned with what people think of him, and making a mark that can never be erased in the world, and that's what people get caught up in sometimes. And the real magic in life is to hang on to that kid in you. He's a wonderful character to play, and of course he's a 300 IQ, so it took me a week and a half to prepare. It's just wonderful. And all it really comes down to is he wants to be special to somebody, only it's gone megalomania for him. He wants to be special to everyone. In fact, he wants to be the king of everyone. And, another thing he really, really wants is to be able to get a latte the way he wants it, with Austrian goat's milk.
But that orphan line speaks to who he is.
Yes.
And so does the story about him
Yes.
being punched in the face.
Yeah, rub that in my orphan face.
Right, those stories speak to him.
Yes.
So, but they tell us who he was and why he's the way he is.
Right, because I had to figure it out. Who's this guy? What's the organic seedling that created this megalomania? So to me, there's nothing like the combination of genius and a sense of absolute worthlessness. And where does worthlessness come from except neglect, abuse? So I figured there's no way this guy couldn't have had parents. Yeah. He had to be part of the system. And again, so he grows up creating system. Robotnik is a little tiny piece of nothing in his own mind, and he's blown himself into gargantuan proportions. He is as smart as heck, he is the smartest one in the room, but there's smart, and then there's spiritually dumb. you know? And I'm sure you could take a lot of the smartest people and put them in a room, and when it comes to life, they can't carry water, you know? And that's kind of it. You know, he lives through his invention. He wants to capture the world and the world's consciousness and control humanity with his machines. And of course, we're not dealing with any of that, are we? So I think I'm kind of right in the zeitgeist with this character.
Why is Dr. Robotnik so angry?
Why is he so angry? I'll tell you why he's so angry. Because he's very, very lonely in his heart. And he tried to make himself happy by owning everything and building something that no one else could build. And he was focused on that, and he lost that little part of himself that is Sonic. And Sonic is the absolute example of pure kid-like, you know, pure, innocent, electric play energy that Robotnik doesn't have and he can't own. And I'd say that, you know, there's a lot of people out there with a Sonic-shaped hole in their heart, you know? I just dealt with him as an ego out of control, as somebody who believes themselves completely separate from the rest of the world, and so he must conquer those who betrayed him. You know, so he wants to own the world. He wants to control the exterior and the interior of every human being. He basically is at war with the world because he was neglected by it.
And the Grinch is like the bad guy, but he also ends up as the good guy. Was that kind of like an ending that you kind of maybe wanted for Dr. Robotnik?
That's the truth of all bad guys.
Yeah.
You know, basically, they're just the unloved. Beware the unloved is what I say. I start with the guy who was abandoned by the world, you know, and so he wants to get back at the world for abandoning him and own it, you know, own every aspect of it. You can't avoid him, you know, the way his parents did. It's wonderful to be able to physicalize that evil, that self-centeredness, that constantly acting as if there's a spotlight on you, you know, and everybody's really interested in what you have to say. And if they're not, they must be banished. You know, I think that it became a physical dance, and that's why we had that kind of weird dance sequence in it. It's very edgy.